What happens to my 401k if I quit my job? So a lot of people see that as negative. I see it as an amazing positive and gives you lots of opportunities. Three things I want to share with you in this video are the basics of the 401k when you leave your job. So I'm actually going to just read you a very legal, like what are the bullets and what are the law of what you can and can't do. And then number two, what are the options you can use then to maximize that a qualified plan. Some people call them your retirement accounts. I call them a qualified plan because you either have paid tax going into it already or you put it in and you'll pay tax on the way out, which is a little risky in an environment like today when our interest rates and our tax rates are, becoming more and more variable. Number three, what are the common mistakes I see with people who quit their job and leave their 401k stranded and left behind? That's one of them, but the domino effect gets worse, especially as you get older, unless you're managing all of that money that you made in the past. Those of you who have multiple jobs, multiple 401ks, I have some great solutions. Stay to the end to hear about them. So the basics of the 401k when you leave your job. So I'm actually going to read through this list. So for those of you thinking about it, now prior to leaving your job, you can actually usually, most of these kind of plans, they'll allow you to actually borrow up to $50,000. Now you have to pay a small interest rate to get your own money out, which is part of the deal. But for some of you that want to diversify a little bit, maybe you want to go buy a rental property. You don't want to have just this boring 401k stock bond portfolio. You can see my eyes rolling. It's like, yeah, ridiculous. So you could actually take 50 out and go buy a different asset with it. The downside of potentially doing that is, again, you got to read all the fine print, is there a requirement to put the money back in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? So what is the total information on that loan before you just pull it out casually? But once you leave your job, it's up to you to move it and self-direct it. So by understanding the vesting amounts, right, you can actually pull their total contribution. And then the difference between the employer contributions and your own, you really have to understand the tax implications of that. Because if you withdraw your money from your 401k early, before the age of 59 and a half, you might face the following consequences. Early withdrawal penalty can be up to 10% of the entire portfolio. So somebody like I used to work at Chevron, some of those guys were 30 plus year guys. They would have millions in their 401k. So any withdrawal early is 10% of the total, or depending on how your plan is, it could just be 10% of what you pull. So again, you've got to understand the rules. Don't think of this as casual and don't make the decision by yourself. Get an expert. If you need an expert, I have experts in every one of these categories. They can be on calls with you. They can help you understand what you can do with it. And then other income tax. There could be income tax depending on how you pull it. When you take an early withdrawal, the plan administrator can withhold 20% of your distribution for taxes, which means you're only going to get 80% of your funds. So be careful when and if you decide to pull at all and when you pull it. Again, let an expert guide you. Potential state tax, loss of deferred growth. I'm not as worried about those, but the exceptions to the 10% penalty is if you are disabled, you need medical expenses, your separation from service, qualified domestic relations order. That's actually a legal thing upon a divorce, IRS levy, equal payments, qualified military service, birth or adoption up to $5,000 are other reasons you can pull from your 401k. So there, again, a lot of IRS, a lot of ERISA rules around this. So when we say we're going to help you self-direct, there's a handful of companies that really, in our opinion, do good self-directing. So if you went into a Schwab or a Fidelity or traditional firm, they'll say, oh yeah, we self-direct only into their own products. You can only buy Schwab products or Fidelity products or whatever their products are. When we say self-directing, because we're in the alternatives, you can buy cattle, you could buy gold, you could buy land, you could buy water rights, you can buy anything you want. There's about 50 different asset classes that you have access to when you self-direct through an alternative self-directing company. So we, again, have great experts who can walk you through how to take these qualified plans with you. And I'm going to get, again, to the biggest mistakes that I see people doing. I recently just worked with somebody. They had 14 different jobs, 14 different 401ks, and they left them all behind at their employer. Let me tell you what I did with them as we get to the end of the video. But number two, what are the options for maximizing this qualified plan, this retirement account? Well, once you have it in your own control, you can actually build for way more returns. You have more control over, again, the asset classes. So it's not just bonds and mutual funds and, whatever your small little pool of options inside what the qualified employer fund is. So in our opinion, all of our experts' opinion, you want to get it out of the employer's hand the minute you leave your job. You start that moving, you move that self-direction, and you move it all into one account. So you don't have 14 accounts from 14 different. You roll them into an account that's very, very analyzed by a strategic strategic spreadsheets. Like, do you want to pay the fees now and go straight into like a 401k Roth? Depending on your age, you might want to do that. Why leave it to chance in your 70s? When you start pulling out that whatever the tax rate is, you're going to be taxed at an unknown rate. That's really an odd, risky position to, I think, leave yourself in, or leave a portion of it in. So there's a lot of, again, I don't want to make this complicated to you. I'm just saying there are experts on our team who will absolutely go through this. So in the link below, I want you to grab a strategy session and say, I'm one of those people, I want to leave my job. I want to really maximize the use of my 401k, and call in, have a strategy session, and we'll talk through what kind of processes and mentoring and guiding we can give you. Again, we're not advisors. I have advisors on the team that will actually do a complete analysis of whether you should even be in a 401k. Some of you, your qualified plans are horrible. And why are you there versus in real estate or other great asset classes? So before we go to other costly mistakes, I want you to subscribe to the channel, click this notification button so you're here every day. And don't just pick up the phone and say, oh yeah, I'll look the video later. No, watch it now. So do it every morning as you get up. And then also in the show notes, I have a learning journal. So these are brand new. We custom made them just for you, just for this YouTube channel. So it actually gives you the video, the date you watched it, what'd you learn, what are you going to do? And it's a great conversation piece. Even if you only have a once a week family dinner around money, what are you learning? What are you going to do? And you're going to be surprised how your kids enroll and get around all of this. They're going to be so excited. The other one gift I want to give you really quick is this. It is a link to GravyStack. So GravyStack is a kid's bank. So it gives missions and gigs, and it gives you an ability to put money into iFlip, into an investment account. So get your kids learning to put money away. And I say, if the kids are in their up to teenage years, put 50% of everything they earn into an investment account, show them a compounding calculator. You're going to be shocked at how much money these kids are going to be worth if they learn the make and invest strategy. Make and invest is the pattern of millionaires. Most of you make, spend, make, spend. When you teach your kids to make and invest as their first move, it changes them for the rest of their life. So costly mistakes on your 401k. Number one is just to pull it out casually just because you need money. We saw people doing that COVID all the time. They liquidated their 401k. They paid a ton of tax. Why you did that versus go out and learn to make some money. It's crazy to me. When you withdraw, not understanding the tax penalties, and then you're going to have the cash to pay that tax penalty. I don't know how many people withdraw, don't keep enough cash or have enough cash to even pay. Now you're upside down with ERISA and the IRS. And then just overlooking great investment opportunities because it's not on your radar. I mean, if you think one day you're just going to wake up and say, well, I've made money, I'm debt free, now I'm going to learn to invest, you did the whole thing wrong. You need to learn to make money, learn to invest money, and manage your debt, and use debt to grow. And pulling money out of your 401k, I think, is the last option. If you did it wrong, there's lots of other ways you can do it to take loans against it. And then the worst, and biggest costly mistake is like the person that had 14 401ks left behind and kept saying, I don't have enough money, I don't have money. All that put together was hundreds of thousands of dollars that ended up in one account. So now we consolidated all. There weren't fees to doing that. And now there's hundreds of thousands to go really invest, whether that's a property, whether that's mineral rights, water rights, gas and oil, cannabis, whatever they want to invest in. So take control of your money. It's why we're here. Share this channel with as many people as you can, please. They need to be in the right conversation with money. If you have questions, go to askloral.com, ask a question, make a request, and we are here 5 days a week. Talk to you tomorrow.